Hey, what's up, lightboltjoe here. Today we are going to discuss the 1996 comedy musical film, That Thing You Do. So this is written and directed by Tom Hanks. This was a massive, hit back in the day. The soundtrack for this film charted in like top 20s or something like that. And then in 98, Tom Hanks and somebody else released Playtown Records as a production company, which then started that whole movement of production company within TV, film, music, stuff like that. A lot of the soundtracks of certain Playtown films were released under that logo, and that logo and Playtown Records, quote unquote, is based on the fictitious production company in this film. So it's pretty cool how that one thing spurred the next, much like how Adam Sandler's production company Happy Madison is the combo of Happy Gilmore and Billy Madison together. So it's just neat when actors can do that kind of stuff with their own production companies based on their own films. So Ethan Embry's in this, Tom Everett Scott is in this, Steven Zahn is in this, Lily Tyler's in this, a bunch of other people are in this. And again, we were chipping away at our Ethan Embry marathon, and this popped up. And That Thing You Do, I remember that song from back in the 90s. I remember playing it, hearing it on the radio and parties at elementary school, stuff like that. So it's just neat having a nice throwback. And it's funny because it came out in the 90s, but it's based in the 60s. Costuming is gorgeous. The locations, the cars, the technology, the appliances, everything was so authentic, and it was just beautiful because it was authentic. And the slang, the dancing, it was just wonderful. It was a nice nostalgic feel of something 30 years prior. And it's weird saying that because now that we're in the 2020s, the 90s was 30 years prior. So it's funny how time works, right? In a linear aspect here on this planet Earth. So the film has this group forming in Erie, Pennsylvania. Tom Everett Scott's character of Guy Patterson pops in as he was a jazz drummer, just throughout town, and he has these friends who are starting a band, a pop rock band, and so they're trying to come up with a name. Their co-drummer Chet broke his arm, so they need a replacement. So then Guy's just thrown in. They win this talent show. A manager finds them through that, and then Tom Hanks's character, manager from Playtown Records in LA, finds them through them. They go on a state fair tour, doing the radio scene. They then go to LA to do a bunch of TV spots and film appearances, stuff like that. And then the band breaks up, and then what happens next to the characters after this fight or these things. Ethan Embry's character is going away to Korea. He's enlisting in the army. He's enlisting in the Marines. Steven Zahn's character marries this random Playboy bunny in Vegas, and then that's it, disappears. And the character of Jimmy quits after he no longer wants to be with Liv Tyler's character. It's a thing, right? And then it was neat having the Guy Patterson character played by Everett Scott playing alongside his idol, the jazz musician. So the fact that, man, I just forgot his first name, Everett Scott. Everett Scott. I just said it too. Ty Everett Scott? Not Ty Everett Scott. We're gonna look it up quickly. I still have it queued up. Let me just go back. And we're gonna do this in real time, because the brain said the words and it disappeared. Let me just get that back for us. And I'm going to smack myself across the face, metaphorically speaking, of course, when we do find the name, because I cannot believe that I just forgot it. Where am I? Thing. There I am. Okay. Tom Everett Scott. Tom. What a simple name, and I just forgot it. Tom Everett Scott. So it's a fast film. There's an extended cut, which is like 40 minutes extra. So it's a 2-hour film originally within the story of them. And then it's a 2-hour and 40-minute film for the extended cut, which I'm very curious how that works, because there's a lot of deleted scenes thrown into that, which expand on the character development, which I'm all for. Oh, Charlize Theron is in this as well. Big names for back in the day that are still relevant today. Pretty entertaining how that happens. Important how that happens. They all did a reunion thing, half in person, half virtually, in 21 to raise money for something in think they were in Chicago, I think. So it's a great film, and I'm very curious how the extended cut works. I'm definitely want to watch that. But my only amazing fun fact about this is the fact that Tom Everett Scott and Stephen Zahn are in this film together. They're play bandmates. They play friends in this film. They both individually play the character of Frank Heffley in the original 2020 Wimpy Kid, and then the reboot in 2014, something like that, 2017, the 2017 Dog Days, so, not Dog Days, Long Haul. So in 2011, 12, and 2010, 2011, 2012, there was Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Roderick Rules, Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Dog Days. Stephen Zahn plays the character of Frank Heffley, who's Greg Heffley and Roderick Heffley and Manny Heffley's father, right? Husband to Susan Heffley. And then all these years later, 5 years later, in 2017, Tom Everett Scott plays the character of Frank Heffley to a different assortment of Heffley gang, because those actors grew, so they were high school, college age at that point, and they were trying to reboot the series by getting younger kids back. And then Dog Days came out, and Jason Drucker played Greg Heffley. So to have Tom Everett Scott play Frank Heffley in one universe, and to have Stephen Zahn play Frank Heffley in another universe, in the original universe, and to have them both start out in this film together in '96. I mean, they were both been acting for quite some time, but it's just so entertaining. Like, what are the chances that two actors in one project who work together so well together play the same exact character in two different franchises, in two different universes? It's just so entertaining. That's my biggest fun fact about this entire film. And when I realized who Guy Patterson was played by, I was like, I know that face, and I was like, oh, that's Heffley. Those are both Heffleys right there. So funny, so funny how when you study film, when you study TV, when you're studying story, and you're paying attention to certain actors and actresses, aside from how well the pacing is, how the story development is, the song, the music, the score, casting, costuming, set design, production, cinematography, all that good stuff, right? Score. It's funny when you pay attention to these things and you realize these things subconsciously, and then it becomes conscious, and you're like, why does that person look familiar? Oh, that's why that person looks familiar. It's just funny when that aha moment happens. I like that brain blast kind of Jimmy Neutron aspect. We gotta watch that movie, Jimmy Neutron movie. I haven't seen that in a very long time. Anyway, the That Thing You Do, 1996 cult classic musical comedy film. It would be an amazing Broadway show, now that I think about it. I don't know why it's never been one, but it definitely should be. On to the next review. Mucho mahalo.